You can put that down, or this is a video thing. Oh, it's okay. I was there, yeah. We won gold. The Shanghai office won some gold, so that's good for print and outdoor.
Yeah, exactly. Seen that.
Oh, yeah, but
And what are actually the key learnings of this edition? Because, I mean, in regard of the Asian countries and in China in particular, I mean, things are really moving.
Yeah, but I think that the learnings of this is that this is still an industry in great disorientation. You know, like when we were looking at the mobile awards, the cyber awards, none of them had what we would call ideas in there. They were all just sort of like usage of technology, creative ways to use technology to either help the world or have a new user experience. But
you're thinking of Nike Fuel and things like that.
So you saw Nike Fuel. I mean, well, Nike Fuel I can sort of support. Listen, as a technology, Nike Fuel is very interesting, but to me it's very important that an advertising agency maintains its role as the conductor of ideas, and we cannot be inventors. You know, when a creative says we are no longer creative but we are inventors, I get very nervous, because the only way that we can maintain our reason for being is to conduct ideas, you know, creative ideas that are expressed and liberated through technology. So all of this technological experimentation is good, but it's not used in the service of brands, and to me I think that that's a big problem.
And there's so any campaign, I mean, in regards of what you think that really illustrated what, you know, this mission?
Not really, not this year. You know,
what about Europe?
Well, technologically, I couldn't. I took notes on the ones that I thought were good. But hold on, see if any of them are technology. We're both doing our phone.
It gives me time to drink my coffee. It's fantastic.
I thought The Guardian's Three Little Pigs were good, because that was totally multimedia.
I loved it when I saw it.
I liked
really.
Mont Blanc's Beauty of a Second. I like the granola hiking sponsorship, the one that granola did. You know, sort of like, because granola's all about fuel for, granola's all about natural, and then they had, so granola did a hiking, not sponsorship, but a total campaign where as you hike and as you experience things along the way, you know, it gives you an opportunity to share all of that, but then the brand was well integrated into that. So those were a few that I noticed. I mean, I think that one thing that has happened this year is that the advertisers are finally looking for their agency, their advertising agency, to integrate digital work, and that's like a new thing actually, because they usually have been going to the specialists, you know, but they're realizing that the specialists aren't brand people, which is of course ultimately our advantage. Yeah.
Okay, so the people in digital won't be happy. I mean,
you know, they have to. Digital is not a domain. Digital is a media, and you do different things on the media. So digital is not all one size fits all. Digital, there are different elements of digital, and we have to know what our part in it is. Digital specialists have to know what their part in is it technologically, etc. So I personally don't think there needs to be competition. Well, it's still always a challenge, but we have two long-standing local clients, one in Beijing and one in Shanghai. The one in Beijing is called Yili, Y-I-L-I. That's dairy.
Okay.
So we've been working with them for more than 10 years. And Inthe shoes in Shanghai, and we've been working with them for like 7 years. But there's still always challenges, because the digital, the local agencies are not set up for brand building. They're always, no matter what, very short-term focused on sales. You know, advertising agencies work most smoothly with marketing-driven companies that balance long-term equity and short-term sales. So my feeling is, when you're in this market, you have to swim harder to maintain stable relationships with local agencies, but you've got to do it because that's the market. Okay. So 40% of our revenue is local, is from local companies. Oh, another one is, of course, you could call it 50-50, but Chang'an Ford, which is the joint venture for Ford.
Okay.
That's got a lot of local development elements to it, and that's been about 8 or 9 years. You know, I'm going to land on just a little bit shy of not ever, all right? Because I've been here for 15 years, and I have not noticed any agency achieving scale, right?
No.
And also, like, if you have a local agency, and then they have 150 people, their billings will be maybe a revenue will be a third of what ours are, all right? Maybe a fourth, because they are not set up for value added. They're set up mostly to have very quick turnaround at a low price, so it becomes a catch-22 situation in terms of clients' perception of value added. Plus, there's the fact that Chinese people don't feel comfortable with abstract things. That's not to say they're not good conceptualizers. They are. But Chinese people revere the concrete. And a career in advertising is not viewed as safe or solid or sturdy enough. So the leadership of local advertising agencies is fairly weak. And the local agencies have not developed this generation of thought leaders. So usually the local clients, once they get beyond a certain point, then they want to start working with a international advertising agency. We have not had one pitch that I can think of, or one business loss to a local agency.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
This is one of the myths. Unless you're talking about, local companies, to their credit, are very savvy pragmatists. They know where their big opportunity is, and it's in the lower tier markets and developing them, and managing scale within China. So there is not one local brand that I think is ready to truly play in developed markets, competing with the brands from those markets at a price premium. The brands that are doing something is Huawei, okay? Now they are succeeding dramatically in their telecoms component, but they've recently appointed BBH based in London to do brand campaigns for mobile phones.
And amazingly, in Paris, there was a blogger operation not later than last April.
What do you mean, a blogger operation?
They launched a sort of PR event, bringing bloggers to Disneyland out of Paris
For
their
Huawei?
for their phone.
For the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah, yeah.
Let's
Time we heard of that.
Let's see whether that sustains itself. Okay, that's probably the most ambitious thing. But I know somebody who works for the agency and has been involved in that, and I can tell already that the way it's set up is they've got some international brand building people based in London, and yet the entire centers of power are in China. So let's see how it works. This is probably the biggest experiment. Lenovo, obviously, but they've taken over something that already existed. Volvo, Haier, Volvo was taken over. Haier is expanding, but really it's an emerging market strategy, despite their market share in the United States. But the one to watch would be Huawei mobile phones.
Okay, sure.
To see whether they can prove me wrong.